Hello and welcome to My Security TV. My name's Chris Cubbage and we're at Security 2011 Exhibition and Conference in Sydney. I'm joined by Mr. Graham Ingram, the Managing Director of AusCERT, the Australian Computer Emergency Response Team from Queensland University. Thanks for joining us, Graham.
Thanks, Chris.
Graham, you've just given a presentation here in the seminar theatre for protecting the enterprise in relation to information security.
Yep.
Can you talk about or introduce us to the main theme of that talk?
Well, I guess the main theme, what I'm trying to get across is that over the last few years, particularly since the internet banking attacks that we've seen since about 2003, 2004, a lot of focus has been on the end machines, the consumer machines, home machines. And that is effectively what the criminals have targeted very effectively. What we're seeing at the moment though is, and we've seen it for a while, but it's emerging as a change in the attack trends. And that is the incredibly successful methods that the criminals have used in using malware and a whole range of zero-day exploits, exploitation very rapidly from, for example, a vulnerability is released to things like rootkits. This munitions that the criminals have. Arsenal is there. What we're seeing is that's now being used against the enterprise. And I'm not sure that people are aware of what's happened and what is happening. Now, traditionally enterprises have been perimeter-based security. So if we protect the perimeter or we monitor what's going on over the network, we are somehow secure. What I'm suggesting to people is that the successful attack of a home or a PC, whether or not that's on an enterprise network or in a home, it probably doesn't matter. The attack is probably going to be successful. A lot of enterprises need to understand that they're not attacking the DMZ anymore. They're not attacking the file servers, the web servers. They certainly are, but they are also attacking the networked machines. And there is this idea that they're targeting specifically for access to information. And you've heard this term as advanced persistent threat. Well, I'm not sure that I like that term, but I'd certainly say that enterprise level targeted covert intrusions, and I use those words very specifically, covert. They are not, in many cases they're not even discovered. But I believe that they're using many of the similar strategies that have been successfully developed by the Eastern European criminals. So a malicious code or a Trojan onto an enterprise machine, and then that machine then is used to map the network to gain legitimate access to the file servers.
And many of those networks aren't aware that they're actually being compromised in the first place.
No. By allowing the user to browse the internet, do their internet banking, all these wonderful things we do, we're actually opening up a gateway for the attackers to have access to the enterprise.
So I suppose one of the key strategies for enterprises or larger organisations, or even SMEs and organisations, is to know what information they have and what's valuable to them in the first place and protect the data first.
Yep.
And then think about the network as as their second option, but certainly not to rely on network security.
I totally agree. Network security, I believe, is important, but is not the solution. What I'm looking at is that the two things. Presume the network is compromised. That is a significant jump, but that is a presumption you have to make. Then work out what you do about it. And in many cases, if you presume the network is compromised, the only thing you can do is limit access to the data that the people can access. And this is where I think this idea of role-based security becomes now one of the principles. It's incredibly hard to do.
And when you say role-based security, you're looking at information classification based on what a person or a worker needs to know?
Yeah. In other words, what is my job? What do I need access to do my job? And then you link the two together. So that if the person moves on to a new role, then their access changes to that role. So what you're doing is you're compartmentalising the enterprise so that one attack doesn't open up the entire enterprise and all the data. The problem is the criminals are working out who to target, which is also what I would use the word targeted. So if they target the CFO, if they target the... what they're doing is trying to work out what access this person might have. But this is something that has to be thought through as a process in the enterprise rather than a product that they can stick on the network to fix it.
And the role of AusCert is obviously in a response capacity, but also as does it have an education role?
Oh, very much. Because we are operational, we're looking at internet-based attacks and how they're done, not so much who's doing them, but what are the changes? For example, using zero-day exploits. What are the techniques? What we want to do is to use that information, that database that we have, to explain what you need to do to better protect your network. What are you got to be looking for? And this is what I'm saying, that role-based security in my mind is now becoming one of the probably the driving forces of security in the next down the track.
So Graham, I suppose as devices and we continue to mobilise and technology continues to expand, we certainly need organisations like AusCert there educating the end users as well as leading in the thought leadership in relation to information security. So good luck with the rest.